Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first webinar, Junior Group Coaching Presentation. So how do you deliver to large groups? So in tonight's presentation, we're going to go through lots of different things. We're going to go through how you deliver to a variety of age groups working with juniors, go through how you would work an assembly, school class taster sessions, any safety concerns, time management equipment, and any other business. Now, before we start, it's really important to say that my opinions and Matt's opinions can be different to everyone else. We're just trying to share our thoughts and our guidance. And if anyone else has got anything positive to add or things that we may well have missed, which I'm sure we will do, please feel free to comment and maybe get hold of us and we can add to the presentation as we go. Ultimately, we're really trying to grow junior golf, give people the confidence to deliver junior group coaching sessions, and hopefully we can grow the game and get more juniors involved in playing. The presentation won't take up too much time, probably 20 to 30 minutes, maybe a little bit less, but it's going to cover all the key points that we feel will benefit people delivering a variety of junior group coaching sessions. So let's get straight into it. So some common concerns from coaches when asked about delivering to large groups. Have you ever had the right education? Some people, particularly when you come out of the PGA, I certainly felt that I got a very basic understanding of developing and delivering golf lessons in an individual basis, let alone a group basis. So is there enough support out there to help coaches deliver group coaching sessions? A lot of people lack confidence in this area. It's very difficult to get out and dip your toe in the water, really. You've got a group of kids, you've got to be able to deal with them pretty quickly. I'd recommend, if you can do, if you know any professionals in your local area that specialise in junior coaching, if there's anyone in our local area that wants to come and shadow us and look at how we deliver sessions, by all means, please do that. The professional I had growing up, very actively involved in junior coaching and got us to come along to sessions. We shadowed for a long time, coming up to sort of 4 to even 6 months in shadowing sessions before we even considered delivering any sessions, gathering knowledge, learning, getting involved with sessions that are not your own to help you build your confidence in the area. A lot of people haven't done it before. So again, shadowing is really, really important. And a lot of people can be scared at the prospect. The revenue to coaching groups can be great. There's a big scope for people out there to grow a business using group coaching. A lot of people enjoy the individual side of things, but you can certainly upscale group coaching a lot more. And it's easier to grow an income from there and more sustainable income, in our opinion, than it is doing individual lessons all the time. And the last point at the bottom there is think about what a child wants from a session. Every child that you are going to teach is going to be different. Some are going to be very introverted. Some are going to be extroverts. You've got to be able to deal with a variety of different children at any one given time. So you've got to be a lot of things to a lot of different people, but it's staying calm, staying relaxed, and delivering the best possible session you can. And hopefully with the tips we give you tonight, you can certainly achieve that. Okay, let's start by looking at an assembly presentation. So assemblies are a great way of showcasing your offerings, your coaching offerings, to a large group of people. And they can be seriously daunting at first. I mean, to be honest with you, I really dislike doing assemblies in terms of I get nervous. I remember the first assembly I ever did many years ago now. I had the kids on side, they're having a good time. But before I went in there, a couple of days leading up to it, I was really, really nervous. And I'm still nervous to this day delivering assembly. I've stood up in front of 500-600 juniors now, children now in a primary school. It doesn't get any easier, but you learn to manage it and get on top of things. There's some keys to delivering an assembly. You are going to be at the front on your own, presenting to a lot of children. That's your time. That's the floor is yours to sell golf, really, to sell the benefits, to sell why people should maybe come along to potentially a holiday course that you're doing, or maybe you're starting a before or after school club off the back of the assembly, or you're just trying to drum up some interest in the game. Speak to everyone. Make eye contact with as many of those children as possible. Yes, you're speaking to a wide range of people, but still give it that personal touch if you can. Build some energy from the audience. So I go in with our tri-golf equipment. I've got the foam balls and the plastic clubs. I will choose the softest golf balls that we've got, foam balls, and I will chip a couple into the crowd. I'll get them to throw the golf ball around to different people, give them a feel for it, get them engaged, get them on side early, build some energy from the audience to get them interested in playing golf. You know, golf has still got that stigma of it being very elitist, being for sort of older people, which we know as coaches isn't the case. And doing this will really benefit you. You know, we also take in a big targets. We've got a big net that we take in, and we get a couple of kids up, have a few shots into the net. They come up and have some putts to maybe choose children from different rows to have a little go, boys and girls, get them involved, get them engaged, and showcase the game to them. Have a clear call to action at the end, as we said earlier, whether that is you delivering a before or after school club, or you're coming in for a day to deliver a sort of an introductory golf day. Get people enthused with it, make it as eye-catching and visually effective as possible, and drum up some interest. Now, when do you get the opportunity to showcase what you can offer in front of that many students in a controlled environment? Assembly is a really good way of drumming up business. Also, at the end of an assembly, have leaflets for everybody. You know, get the school class teachers to give them that if schools are allowed to do that. If not, you know, get your stuff in a parent mail that schools are more than happy to send out. Showcase what you can do in that way. It's getting a little bit away from that, but you know, be very, when you're delivering to these kids in an assembly, be loud, have clear, concise information. Don't rabble on a little too much, like you might think I am now, but have clear, concise information, get to the point, get them involved, and really be confident in what you're delivering, because you know you're going to do a good job when you get into that school. So that's covering assemblies. Moving on now, onto taster lessons. So let's say, for example, you've gone to an assembly and now the school want you to come in and do an introductory day, maybe 15 to 20 minutes with every school class as an introductory golf session. You know, so you're looking at probably working with anywhere between 25 to 30 students in a big group like that. So how do you set this up? Now, with golf, as we know, people are going to potentially swing the golf club quite quickly, might get a little bit out of control of it, particularly if they've never played before. So you need adequate space between each group. So normally you split the groups into 4 or 5. Let's just use an example of 30 children. I'm going to split them into groups of 5 per group. Okay, so you need adequate space between hitting areas. Now, we normally use a method of, you know, if you've got a group of students waiting, let's say you've got 1 hitting, you've got 4 waiting, you've got that replicated 5 or 6 times. Between the hitting areas, you need a good 2.5 to 3 meter space. The juniors aren't always going to hit it right next to the cone that they're instructed to. They might be a little bit further away, so you need to make sure there's adequate room, that there's no contact. You need to make sure as well that, you know, one person might be trying right-handed for that example, one person might be trying left-handed. So you need to make sure if they're participating in that way, there's adequate room to do so. At least 2 or 3 meters between, and again the same between groupings. So when someone's waiting to have their go and they're swapping over the person that's just had a go, there's plenty of spacing there as well. In these sessions, how are you going to deliver? So what we generally do, we get them all in their groups first. So normally there's 2 of us there, so there'll be myself or Matt and an assistant coach. You go over, you introduce yourself to the class, you introduce yourself to the teacher, and you get them set out in their groups initially. You get them all waiting in their groups. Then you get to the front, and then you begin what you're going to deliver. So really loud, really engaging. You know, a good way of getting the children on side in this instance is to ask them if they've played any golf before. Have they played golf on the Nintendo Wii? Have they been to crazy golf before? Just get them engaging with you again, get them putting their hands up, and hopefully you've got a few children there that have never played the game before, which is great, and you're going to give them their first experience. Now, that normally takes up a couple of minutes, and you haven't got long with children before they do start to sort of switch off and not engage with what you're doing. So in that instance, you've already got your game set up, you've prepped a good 30 minutes before the students have attended, you've checked all the equipment's ready to go. I would be very, very concise and clear and very short in the technical information you give. This is an introductory golf session. You're not going to give out loads of technical info. You want the kids getting their hands on the club as quickly as possible, hitting as many shots as possible. So we like to use the helicopter method when telling them how to grip it. Arms out to the side like a helicopter, left hand on the top, right hand underneath, make a triangle between your feet and the ball, off you go. Show them the game that they're going to play. You know, in this example, we like to build what we call a Christmas tree. So you have cones and they gradually get closer together with a star on the top of the tree, and they've either got to chip or putt their ball through the gap. The further down the tree they get without coming off the edges, the more points they get. A nice, simple game for them to play and something they can get going really, really quickly with. But yeah, that technical information needs to be short and sharp. Letting them hold it any which way, just getting them to stand any which way. That's why it's beneficial to have a left hand, right handed golf club out at the same time. Let those juniors make the choice. Don't impart what you think they should have. You know, we were guilty of this in the past of, oh, there's only left handers in the group. And you kind of nudge them to one side, oh, they've got their own golf club. You don't know if the juniors are going to be left or right-handed. So it's really important that you give them that choice and you give them that freedom. That means they might hit one shot left-handed, they might hit one shot right-handed, and they might play both ways. You don't need to make that decision. You're merely giving them as much positive introduction to the game as possible. You know, looking down the list there, high energy and speak to as many children as possible. Get involved. You know, I seem to find myself being a little bit of a jester sometimes to people. Lots of high fives, get them engaged, get them having fun, have a laugh with them. You know, they're there to enjoy themselves. You're not going to give technical information to every single person, and that's not your job in this instance. You're there to be high energy, pulse raising, engaging, get them enjoying the game, give them a first experience of golf that they're going to absolutely love and want to play the game again. Now, some people may see that as wrong. Other people like to take a more relaxed approach. I think you kind of get better at that the more, or you get into your niche. That's certainly the way I go. I'm very high energy, high levels of enthusiasm. Other people are way more relaxed. They let juniors kind of self-play a little bit more, and that's absolutely fine. You'll find what you feel comfortable delivering. You know, I'm chopping and changing my delivery a lot. I've stuck with that engagement in terms of being a little bit more high energy, but other people might find their niche in different ways. It's fine. You're never gonna get it right the very first time that you do it. It's just about making sure everyone's safe, everyone knows the task that they're trying to complete, and everyone has adequate amount of goes and they're having that positive experience. So you see in the background there just an idea of how you would set a group up. Is getting people actively engaged, not waiting around too long, and going from there. So how do you work with different age ranges? You know, you can go into a primary school and you could teach a reception child who is, 4 or 5, they've literally just started the school, or you could be teaching someone that's moving out of that school going into secondary school soon enough. So anywhere between 4 and 11 years old. It's such a wide age range and such a diverse age range that it can be very difficult. You know, you may well have in an example in an introductory day where you've got a group of reception children for 20 minutes, then you're moving straight into a year 6 group, then into a year 4 group, into a year 2 group. So you're constantly chopping and changing. So I think, in my opinion, it comes down to different uses of language. You know, with a reception child, you might not speak that much. You might just give them really short, clear information and show them the tasks they need to do. Maybe get down to their level. That's a really important thing. Each junior that you work with, get down to their eye level. If you're working with them individually. But I'm certainly with a reception class, it can be so different. You know, you might not talk massively. You might have an introduction at the start, but it can be very, very basic. You know, they're there just to have a go. I'd get them on the hands on the club as quickly as possible and use as little kind of verbal communication as you need. You know, another pro that we work with, Stu Warren, he said tries to use 3 words, and relating that to maybe talking about hitting a driver he was talking about, he was saying, right, tilt, up, swing. So some really clear, concise information. You can go into maybe a little bit more conversation with kids that get a little bit older, you know, and you gauge that on the group dynamic really. Some groups are going to be really quiet, other groups are going to be very proactive. It's just making sure that you can deliver it adequately. You know, you don't teaching someone that's 5 years old is completely different to teach someone that's 11 years old. Their levels of concentration go up, their levels of engagement can change. It's keeping everyone on side and tailoring it differently for each age group that you've got. So looking down on my list there, yep, gone through getting down to level. Safety considerations. Now, you know, with reception children, they might not be aware of the space they're trying to play in, so your spacing may become even bigger in that instance. You may use only putting. I'd probably recommend up to key stage 2 that you probably focus more on putting in those taster sessions than you do chipping or pitching. You know, they're more inclined to do a smaller swing with a putter than they are with a club that's going to generate some loft and get the ball in the air. And again, you weigh that up. You may have right reception are only going to do putting, whereas year 6 are only going to do some longer shots. That's down to yourself, but it's certainly a good way of looking at it because they're not going to be aware of their surroundings and their spatial awareness as much at a younger age. It's also tailoring the games differently, so keep the games really simple for all. As we said, you might have a putting game for years reception 1 and 2. You might go into chipping games for years 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6 you might do some long shot games. But make the challenge that you do age appropriate, task appropriate, and make it a challenge for them. Make it that they want to keep having a go instead of completing the challenge straight away. You might give them an easy challenge initially and then make the challenge a little bit more difficult. That keeps levels of engagement high, as opposed to making a challenge really difficult that they can't complete and they become very demotivated in operating in that area. So make the games easier initially and then maybe make them a little bit more difficult if certain groups can complete these tasks. Impact all students with a positive experience, whether that's a high five, a fist pump, getting to know their name and giving them some verbal encouragement from another group. Oh, well done, Johnny, who's 2 or 3 groups away. You're still looking at them, you're still watching what they do. It's making sure that they go away enjoying that session. Some people won't. Some people don't enjoy playing the game. They might not enjoy your delivery. But as long as you're doing your utmost to make sure they're enjoying that session, that is all you can do. Use visual cues and equipment that don't need explaining. So as we said there, set up tasks that are very self-explanatory. You know, pick a club up, hit it through that gap. You might have to do a little bit of introductory stuff to them, but keep it simple. Get them playing as quickly as possible without too many constraints in front of them. Don't have loads of do not do this. I don't like using do not. I would be more inclined to say, for example, if you're looking at do not stand behind a player when they're swinging a club, maybe word it in a way, right, straight into your safety zone, get back into your safe area. Your safe area is your safe place. No do nots, maybe some do's. Do this, not do not do this. I'm surmising a little bit and getting a little bit off topic, but you know, if you tell a child do not do this, do not do that, they're going to become very demotivated. Try this. How about having a go this way? Have a go left-handed. Try this way. Give them options. Give them scope to change. Definitely. Equipment. So some key points with equipment. Again, as we said earlier, we use the Tri-Golf stuff. I've got cones coming out of my ears. Have a lot more equipment than you feel you need. Clubs are going to break. Balls are going to go over fences if you're delivering in schools. You know, even at the golf club setting, have lots of golf balls out ready. We use crate systems, so we have sort of 300 balls per crate. We have 4 or 5 crates out. They're never going to use all those golf balls, but you want to make sure that you're not having to go in and away from the setting to keep replenishing golf balls. So again, with Tri-Golf clubs, if I'm teaching a group of 30, I've got 10 right-handed, 10 left-handed. I'll have 25 to 30 balls, and I've got cones coming out of my ears just in case we need to set up new stations or anything goes wrong. Here as well, go big, particularly on assemblies and taster days. As you said, maybe have a target that they're hitting to in an assembly. Make golf look appealing, visually appealing. They want to have a go. And get as much equipment there as you possibly can. Make it visually a really good experience for them. In terms of checking clubs as well, always check your clubs before use. So I do this daily, or particularly at the start and the end of each session. I'll make sure if any clubs have got any imperfections, if the grips are getting loose. if the heads, particularly on metal golf clubs, if you're at the golf club setting, if they're loose, make sure the equipment's safe enough to use, and also give it a clean. Now, particularly in COVID, we take some anti-bac wipes with us everywhere we go now and give the clubs a good clean after use to make sure they're ready for the next school or the next class that you've got to deliver to. Easy to use and size appropriate. Definitely, in terms of size appropriate, you want to make sure that the clubs fit them. So using Tri-Golf, they're very easy to cut down. We make sure that we have different sort of length clubs for height appropriation. So, we have 3 levels. We have a short, we have a mid, and we have a long club. As basic as we do it, we put them all out at first, and we kind of let them make that decision. If we've got a group of reception students, for example, we'll put all the short clubs out first, and we've got some year sixes, we'll put all the long clubs out first. But we're adaptable. We make sure if there's a couple of kids there that are maybe a little bit taller or maybe a little bit shorter when they get older, that we have the right size appropriate clubs for them. And yeah, excellent visual targets that grab attention as a must. So moving into the end really of the presentation now, time management. This is very difficult as a group. As I said, you're not going to be able to teach everybody everything. And you might not even speak to a lot of these children. It's very difficult. If you've got a group of 30 kids at school, it's difficult to, in 20 minutes, to speak to everyone, give them that quality of time. I certainly look at it on a group. So if I make sure I can talk to a group as a whole, for example, if we've got 30 kids and there's 6 different lots of groups of 5, I make sure I talk to that group of 5. It's easier, you're covering a wider spectrum of people, and you're delivering quicker. You can get through 6 groups of 5 instead of 30 individual golfers a little bit easier. But when you have that time, if someone's struggling and you need to give them that little bit of personal time, take the time to do that. Again, positive influences to as many people as you can. Focus time on specific points and deliver information efficiently. We've been through that. It's not standing up there and delivering a 20-minute golf lesson. It's as short and sharp information as you can. You want to introduce yourself and stand up there for a maximum of 2 or 3 minutes. Let them play for the rest of that session as much as you can. And ensure detailed session plans are written down and understood. Now, I think before going into a school, as I said, I did a lot of shadowing, did a lot of writing stuff down, what I thought was good about sessions, what I thought was bad, what I'd like to add. And I have a clear goal each time I turn up to a school or a golf club setting of what I'm going to deliver and how I'm going to deliver it. And that can change. You have to be adaptable as a junior coach. But before you go in, particularly to a school, have an idea of what you want to deliver, what it looks like to you, what you think's best for those children, and try and stick to that as best as you can, bearing in mind something may go wrong in terms of someone might be a little bit upset, or you might get people not listening as well as you'd like them to. That's fine. You have to be adaptable, but have a clear goal of what you're going to deliver in each session, what you want those children to get out of that session. So time management's a big one. It's something that you learn. I'd always look to maybe round up a couple of minutes before just to do a very quick recap. Again, a call to action of, thanks everyone for coming along. It's been a great morning or great afternoon with your Tri-Golf. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves. We're starting a club on the back of this at your school. It'd be great to have you along. Keep it short and sharp. A call to action at the end of your sessions as well. So, it's my first presentation. I'm sure I've missed lots of things and I have, waffled on a little bit. I've kind of gone off script. I haven't, about organisation, I haven't had a script. I've tried to do it sort of off the cuff a bit, just following my my PowerPoint presentation. So I hope you found that beneficial. But some key points just to recap. First one, you do not have to be perfect. You are going to make so many mistakes, but mistakes are where you learn. You're going to learn from your mistakes. You're going to learn so much more coming away and evaluating how you've done in that session. How did I do? What did I do well? What did I not do so well? What do I need to do to improve for next time? So certainly after a school or after any group session that you do, evaluate your own performance and see what you can improve on and see what you did well. Give yourself a pat on the back if you did something well. It's not all going to be negative. But believe me, this is a really, really positive thing to do. Maybe have a coach that you trust or you know that is a bit more experienced than you in this sector to watch you deliver coaching. They'll give you points, they'll give you tips. It's a great way for learning. So don't be scared to make mistakes and learn from them. You're going to be out of your comfort zone, as it says there. You know, as I said, I really despise doing assemblies, but I do them, and it's good to get out of your comfort zone sometimes. Again, you learn a lot more being uncomfortable. Can I do this? Than feeling super comfortable every time. It keeps you on your toes as well. Definitely keep putting yourself in those awkward, uncomfortable situations. You'll grow from it as a coach. You'll grow in your terms of your delivery, in your attitude, and in your sort of your personal approach to the delivery. What I mean by that is you'll get more confidence. You'll be able to stand up in front of large groups and deliver sessions without the worry of failure. And again, a key point: ensure every child is having a great time. You know, your job as an introductory golf coach or as a junior golf coach in general is to make sure that junior wants to play the game, wants to come to your sessions, whether that's just to see their friends or to see you as the coach, or they generally love playing golf. That first experience for them, particularly at school, is absolutely vital. So it's your job as a golf coach to make that as safe, as enjoyable as you possibly can. You know, put yourself in a 6-year-old's shoes. They've never played golf before. What was your first experience like as a golfer? You know, sometimes it'll be a positive. Generally, if you're working in golf and you're a junior coach, it's going to be a positive one. That role model that you've had, you are that role model to those juniors when you are there. You might be their first ever experience of the game. Make sure they go away, even if they can't hit the golf ball. Make sure they've enjoyed their time being with you. I hope you've enjoyed that presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Again, I'm sure I've waffled on way too much. Hopefully you take a few nuggets of knowledge there away with you, and you hope you can, you know, start delivering large group coaching sessions, particularly in schools and your external facility. If you need any guidance or any help with anything, please reach out to us on our socials. So it's at the School of Golf on Instagram. We're happy to kind of go into some consultations with you. If you want help growing your junior business, some resources and some clear guidance on how to do this and grow your revenue, please feel free to get in touch. Thanks, everyone.